A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review. Well, tonight, I guess. So, cheers. Now, today I'm bringing you a mystery thriller, which I hadn't actually read. I bought it on Amazon Kindle, and my wife was looking for a book to read, and I said, why don't you try this? And she did and loved it. And so the minute I finished the book I was reading that I just reviewed, Iron Helm, I decided to give this one a go. And that is The Bone Jar by S.W. Kane. This is book one in the Lou Kirby detective series. The second book is out, and I believe the third book is coming out soon. Now, I'm a huge fan of these types of books, especially the British detective novels, books like Inspector Morse and all that kind of thing, the Frost mysteries and so on. So it's really refreshing that this kind of genre hasn't actually died out. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. That's a bit better. Now, The Bone Jar is basically a murder mystery at its core, but there are so many more plot elements that kind of weave their way together. Pardon me. The main story involves the death of an elderly woman. Her name is Anna, and her body is found in a room in a rundown, abandoned asylum called Blackwater, where she used to be a nurse. Blackwater is directly on the River Thames, next to this place called Marsh House. The owners of Marsh House have passed away, and one of the relatives from Australia has come over here to try and cut a deal and sell the house because there's a construction company that wants to demolish Blackwater Asylum and turn it into a group of condominiums. So the main detectives on this case, of course, are Lou Kirby, the main character, and his partner, Pete Anderson. But at the same time, we have this character called Connie Dark. She works for like this architectural museum, and she's what is known as an urban explorer. These group of people that kind of break into abandoned buildings and just explore the seamy underbelly of London. Now, a few years ago, her sister actually died in an accident exploring Blackwater. And her and her sister's boyfriend became very close friends, this man called Ed Blake. So you have that story going on at the same time. Then you have the story of this character called Raymond Sweet. Raymond is a former patient of Blackwater who, when the hospital was closed down, he decided to live in the lodge on the hospital grounds and has just been given squatters' rights, which pisses off the contractor who's trying to buy and demolish the ruins of Blackwater Asylum. So you've got that story going on. And there's a whole lot of other characters that kind of come into it. And the whole plot, while very slow at the beginning, it does pick up pace at the end. And it's basically trying to guess not only who the killer is, but why they committed this crime. And that's really the crux of this story, is the why. Now, that's pretty much the whole thing about The Bone Jar. I will say, the writing style, not really a fan of, but then you really can't expect much from these kinds of stories. The characterization is a little flimsy, but then the writer is working with so many different characters, and some of the characters have very similar names. So there were times when I was getting a little confused as to who they're actually talking about. I had to kind of go back and go, oh, it's this guy, this happened, whatever. But it all kind of comes together nicely, although I was very, very disappointed with not the overall ending to the mystery, but the ending of the book. Like the last chapter of the book pissed me off until my wife, who is reading the second one in the series right now, is like, oh, don't worry, it continues on. So I thought this was going to be one of those series where it's like a new mystery every book. But while there is a new mystery in the second book, the characters kind of come back to work out what was unresolved from the first one. So that kind of alleviated my anger just a little bit. So if you want to know what happens in The Bone Jar by S.W. Kane, then stick around. If you don't, go to another video, check them all out. They're all freaking awesome. Plaguelands Media produces some quality shit, if we do say so ourselves. But if you do want to know what happens in The Bone Jar, you do want to know who murdered Ina and why, stick around for the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
So, as I said, things are probably going to get a little bit confusing, and I'm probably going to forget a lot of stuff. I finished this book on Tuesday, but I did finish it when I was actually quite sick. So, everything's still a bit hazy and blurry in my mind, so here's to being sick. Now, of course, the book starts out with the murder, or should I say, the discovery of the body. This woman has been brutally beaten, and as the story continues, you find out that she was basically overdosing on Quaaludes, which doesn't seem like a plot point, but actually is a plot point in the whole span of the story. So Lou and Pete, or Kirby and Anderson as I will refer to them, are called to find out, to investigate I should say. And the first thing they're trying to work out is how did the body get into the asylum. She's an elderly woman, there are no tracks or anything like that. It has been snowing and they just can't figure out how this person got this body into the Keats wing of the asylum. It's not part of the main asylum itself. It's a separate wing down by the Thames River. Now, this is kind of very important, this wing, which will come into play a little bit later on in the story. So they go and talk to the person who is staying at Marsh House. I believe his name is Chambers, although I could get that wrong. And he's from Perth. And they're trying to work out, or Kirby's trying to work out his alibi. And his alibi happens to be that he was at a notorious gay bar in London. And the bartender can verify this. Anderson goes to talk to the security guard. And the security guard is like, I was here, I was doing a double shift and whatever. I was playing cards with Raymond, the former mental patient who lives on the ground. So they go and talk to Raymond, and Raymond's kind of freaking out a little bit. But Raymond does actually remember Ina. So then we cut to, pardon me, we cut to the second story, Connie. Now, Connie is supposed to be going with her friend and her sister's former boyfriend, Ed Blake, to Black House that night in order to kind of commemorate the anniversary of her death. But Connie is stuck on a train because of the snow and she can't make it. She tries calling Ed. Ed doesn't pick up. The cops find Ed's phone there. So Ed now becomes a suspect in the murder of Ina. I want to say Ina Massey, but I don't think that is correct, but we'll just go with it. So Connie kind of comes back and realizes that Ed is missing, gets involved in the investigation along with one of their mutual friends, Mole, who has been in Poland urban exploring and comes back and realizes that Ed is missing, and Ed's roommate, and also Ed's, I want to say uncle, Harry, who they're really close with. Now, while all this is going on, the cops have no fucking idea what is happening. They can't work out how Ina got into the asylum, why Ina was in the asylum. They can't work anything out. They go and speak to Ina's daughter, Karen. Now, Ina's daughter confirms that her mother was a fucking bitch, and at the first opportunity, she got the fuck out of home. She just left, and she took a whole lot of shit with her. So the investigation continues very, very slowly, and then the pieces start to fall into place. We discover that Ina was the head nurse with this guy called I want to say Dr. Barron. Again, not sure if that's correct. And he was doing experiments in sleep at the Keats ward of Blackwater Asylum. So he was basically keeping all of these patients in a constant state of sedation using Quaaludes. See, the Quaaludes thing comes back. Look at that. And Ina was the head nurse. There was another nurse there called Ruthie who hated Ina. And there was also a patient called Sarah who passed away under Ina's care. Now, what actually happened was that Ruthie was keeping an eye on Ina and was documenting everything that she was doing, and discovered that Ina knew nothing about nursing, was a complete fraud, and had been keeping notes, and was also sleeping with Dr. Baird, who was actually her daughter Karen's father. However, Ina never told Karen who her father was. She would torment the girl by insinuating that the doctor was her father, and then would go, "Why would he be your father? You're a little fucking bitch." And was just an awful, awful woman. So, as this is happening, Kirby goes to talk to the contractor who is wanting to buy out Black House, and he says, "I have no idea who Ina Massey is." Detective Anderson discovers that that's fucking bullshit, that a few years ago, this guy awarded Ina Massey this volunteer prize, and everyone believes that she is this saint who goes to visit one of her nurse friends who's in a nursing home. So Kirby goes, "You know what? Let's go talk to that nurse friend, get the truth." So they go to talk to her, and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I haven't seen this woman in years. She's a fucking liar, and she's a fucking bitch." And then the story of Sarah's death in the asylum comes out, where Sarah is pregnant and gives birth to a child. Ina kills her, gets that child, and has it sent to an orphanage where it's adopted by people from Australia. Just like the guy who's in the Marsh house trying to sell it from Australia, from Perth to be precise. There's the connection. Now the contractor, he's playing it like fast and loose with the cops. They go to his house, or Kirby goes to his house, and his wife, he can see that his wife and him don't have a very good relationship. And the guy's just being an absolute butthole. They talk to Raymond. Now we find out that Raymond, after the people in the asylum pass away, including his best friend Gregory, they cremate them and keep their keep their ashes in this one room that's actually built under the Thames, and it's called the bone, or he calls it the bone jar. And when the contractor came to destroy the asylum, he's been secretly smuggling these urns out of the bone jar because he thinks there's no one there to look after them. So he's trying to kind of protect them. He thinks it's his duty as a survivor of the asylum. We find out that he knows what Ina did to Sarah, but he also knows what Ina did to Ruthie, the other nurse. Ina killed her, made it look like a suicide. Her son is the contractor. Straight away, we've got the main suspect. Now, while this is going on, Connie is kind of distraught. They find Ed's body. Oh, pardon me, I'm sorry. They find Ed's body, and everyone's kind of devastated, especially Connie, and Mole, the guy from Poland, is kind of helping her out. And she's gone into Blackwater Asylum, where she's been attacked by this guy who turns out to be the contractor's son, but he's just the town asshole, who hangs around with Karen's son, who's also the town asshole. So she's kind of a little bit distraught and whatnot. She was looking for clues about her sister's death. She thinks it's a little suspicious because her friend Ed knows who was with her the night she died. Whoever was with her the night she died, when she fell off a water tower, left her to die. So now Connie's on this mission to find out who that was. And Ed had the clue, but now Ed is dead. Which rhymes. That's cool. So Connie goes back to work, and her boss is like, whoever's selling the Marsh house has these architectural plans that we really need. And Connie's like, all right, I'll go pick them up. While this is going on, Kirby's still investigating, and Kirby realizes, wait, something isn't right here. I've got to get back to the Marsh house. So from their subsequent visits, they know that the Marsh house has a boathouse that leads to the Thames, and there may or may not be secret passages that lead into and out of Blackwater Asylum. So he hurries back there, but as he does so, Connie, who has befriended Raymond, goes there to get these architectural plans, and the contractor is there, and he's like, I don't know where Chambers is, but he said to wait for him. Let's go upstairs. Maybe they're in there. And he basically attacks her and ends up dragging her to Blackwater Asylum, where he plans to kill her in he doesn't drag her. He drags her to the boathouse, where he plans to kill her the same way that he killed her friend Ed Blake, because Ed Blake was in Blackwater House the night that the contractor killed Ina, and so he had to die. So he's going to basically throw her into the Thames, and she's going to drown. So they get into a fight. Raymond comes. Raymond ends up pushing him into the Thames and saving Connie, and then they go back up. What's his face? Kirby appears. Everything's good. Everyone's saved, and the story starts to come out. So the contractor basically seduced the guy from the Marsh house because they're both gay, trying to get a better deal, but also to get access to the tunnels and whatnot. So the whole plan was to frame him for the murder of Ina. Now, what actually happened is that Ina killed Sarah and sold the kid, who's the guy from Perth, to the orphanage. She would also steal belongings, letters, and everything from the patients. She killed Ruthie, and the contractor found out about it and came to get revenge on Ina. So the whole thing is kind of like this revenge plot. But the thing is, Ruthie kept a diary, but no one knows where that diary is. No one knows what's in the diary. And the cops are desperately, desperately looking for it. Turns out that when Karen fled from her mother, she grabbed a whole lot of belongings, and there was one thing that her mother prized above all else, and that was Ruthie's diary. And the woman kept it. And she's had it all these years, and she gives it to Kirby, and the truth finally comes out. The end of the book has them at Ed Blake's funeral. Mole gives the eulogy. Kirby is there, but then he goes out and talks to Raymond and whatnot. And at the end of the funeral, the group of urban explorers get together, and Connie's talking to them, and so Kirby kind of leaves her alone. And then we find out that the person who was with the sister is a person who had a fleeting moment in the book. This guy called Kaplinsky, who is the contractor, the contractor's kind of site manager for Blackwater Asylum. So at the end of the novel, Connie gives Kirby the name. And I apologize if I'm fucking these names up. I mean, give me a break. It's too many characters. And then Raymond is going back to his lodge in the last chapter, and he runs into this guy, and the guy's talking to him, and the guy says, "Hey, Raymond, look after your mother." And Raymond freaks out because his mother had died in a house fire, and he had an urn with ashes, and he realizes that they're not her ashes, they're probably just ashes from the fire. And he runs into his house, and he looks at the shelf, and there's no urn there. And then he realizes he took it down earlier in the story to get out a hat pin, and it's on the kitchen table, and then he hugs it, and that's the end of the book. Had I not known that there was a second one, had I not known that that character is going to appear in the second one, that is a fucking disappointing ending. The mystery itself, I enjoyed it. A few too many coincidences, but then what's a good British mystery without them? But overall, really enjoyed it, highly recommend it, and I cannot wait to read the next one. So, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, of course. But most importantly of all, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your evening, day, weekend, whenever you're watching this. But of course, read a fucking book, people.